been a long couple weeks. Coronavirus has kept every one of us in healthcare very busy. It's no exception for hospice and palliative medicine. I mean, yeah, people are dying. The good news is it's not most people. It's just a small fraction of people. But because so many people are sick, we're seeing more patients. But don't lose hope. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing social distancing. Keep doing hand washing. It's making a difference. We're not seeing scenarios like Italy was seeing where people were making hard choices about who gets a ventilator or not. That is because you're doing this. You're doing the social distancing. So thank you for that. Keep it up. Also, I wanted to talk to you about one thing I am seeing and something we can do about it. And that is, for very real reasons, hospitals are not allowing visitors right now. And they don't want the visitors getting sick. They don't want their staff getting sick. It's something that really has to be done at this point. But that also means there's a lot of people who are isolated. Either they're too sick to call, or don't know, or don't have access to a phone. And so they can't reach their loved ones. Now, most hospitals, including mine, do have compassionate exceptions to this rule. If someone is terminal, very sick in hospice, they will actually let the loved one in to see them, one at a time usually. But sometimes family members are too frail themselves and they don't want to risk the virus, so they don't go in. This has a couple implications. One, you may not get a chance to talk to the people you love if you become very sick. I mean, that's always been life. There's always been the chance that you could die of a heart attack or get hit by a bus or something else. But the coronavirus has brought this front and center that now we know that we could die, that people we love could die. So take this chance, take this opportunity to say to the people you love that you love them. Tell them how you feel while you have the chance, and then do it every day. The thought that this type of stuff couldn't happen has always been an illusion. And I think it's part of the reason we always hesitate to make amends or talk to people or tell them how much we love them. Take that time now. I'll wait. You can pause the video even. Second, another important conversation to have is about goals of care. A lot of what I see in the intensive care unit is people who have not talked to their families about what they want and what they don't want. And this is a heavy burden on the families. They don't know, and there's so much that they don't know, and they can't see the person, they can't talk to them, and they're just so confused because so much is changing about coronavirus. There are people who live on ventilators for a couple weeks and get better, but then there's studies to show that 60% of people, a little bit more than that, die on ventilators. So once you're on a ventilator, your chances of survival drop, but people do survive. And some of the questions, who survives? And one of the things we look at is if you're older, if you're frailer, if you have multiple diseases, if you have multiple organs that have failed because of COVID. These are all things that increase your chances of not surviving. If you already have a lot of diseases, maybe you want to talk to your family and say, no, don't put me through that torture. Don't prolong my death. Or you may say, no, do everything. And those are very personal decisions, and that's why it needs to be spoken about with your family. And I would suggest do that now, because there may not be time once you get sick, if you get sick. Second, you want to talk about things like CPR if your heart stops. I did a whole other video on that. and about when and why CPR might be useful and when and why it may not be. Again, this is something people have very strong opinions on. And if you are sick, you may say, no, let me go. Don't torture me, or do everything you can until my heart stops. Or, there's a lot of different ways you can approach that. And then there are other things like tracheostomies. Generally speaking, not always the case, but generally speaking, when the doctor's talking about doing a hole in your neck right here to put the breathing tube, it's generally meaning they don't think you're going to get off that breathing tube anytime soon. Some people may say, do the breathing tube, but don't do this. If they're talking about this, then that's too long. I don't want that anymore. Again, that's a very personal choice, and COVID is in fact changing that a little bit. A lot of people don't get trachs with COVID, but some do. Meanwhile, you want to just sort of talk about, do you want dialysis? Do you want feeding tubes? Those types of things. Telling your family what you want can take some of the pressure off. What can you do? Now, a lot of doctors and nurses, we're actually bringing our own cell phones in. And in doing that, people are being able to communicate with their loved ones. I even did that. I brought my own phone in at times to loved ones so they can talk to their dying loved one and tell them the last things they needed to know and say. And that's very meaningful to them. Sometimes people need to see their loved ones. And so you can have a tablet and bring it in and let them talk and see their loved one. So one thing you can do is you can donate to a local hospital. If you have some extra tablets or if you have access to some, you have to check with them first. There's HIPAA rules and stuff like that. They have to make sure it's kosher. Like I said, a lot of us are doing this sort of informally. Talk to your local hospital team about to say, hey, is there a way I can help with this so people can communicate better? Maybe they have a couple on the wards so that nurses can bring them to patients and they can talk to their loved ones. Definitely something that might help with that. So, again, talk now. Talk to the people you love. Let them know the important things in life, how you feel, stuff like that. And talk about what you'd want done if you ever were in a situation where you couldn't make your own decisions known. I think those would be two big things. And then reach out to your local hospital and see how you can help with this. That's about that. Thank you so much. Stay well. Stay safe. Bye.